They can chat and they can interact with people on an open forum. I don't know if I just lost all my stuff, but I'll just keep going from here. Network forums, call rights monitoring, negative energy. Highlights client area, corporate manager, CEO manager, CEO releases his own experience. Climbs the top, gives advice bonus for processability to address company issue. Photo taken, monthly, exchange yearly, climb to the top, trip to the top, yearly trip to meet the top. On top flies in, gift cards, network flaws. Call rep, mentally negative but energy driven, money talks with stability, sales and rep saves. Client customer rep, meeting 3-point bonus for the words week bonus mark, take offering, match and time further out. Events team weekly, monthly cash in, cash out. Bonuses, gift cards, money, extended housework requests. They did a lot of bonus gift cards. Really competitive. You have to sell on a 5-tier market, 5-tier margin. It was very competitive, but the bonuses and the incentives were a lot better than when I worked for Center Partners or Capital One or whatever you like to call it. Fleet time, think time, beanbag time. Google does beanbags. It kind of gives you away from the phone, and you're able to directly network as to what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, how are we going to perform, what's our performance, and what's going to build. Contribution to the business, start customer rep, clients, charts, first $100 representative. So when you do a bonus or incentive, what I thought they could have improved was you give first $100 as a bonus, and the representative can choose to hang it up. They could choose to frame it, say this is my first $100 with the company, or they could choose to just take it and spend it, whatever they like to do, and then put it out in different currency. I thought that would kind of be cool, kind of give a fresh flavor to the call center, have totally different currencies. You could get something in euros, something in British, something in yen, just to put up on the wall and make it so there's kind of a totally different feel for it. Up on your pod or whatever you want to call it. Gives more aspect to building business, a little bit of color in the room, kind of a new fresh thing. Training for all representatives, plans customers to work around. Through the customers, we are training together, we are powering together, we're base plan, building together. The prime anything is a flexible, firm, stable foundation. Immovable when it needs to be, with earthquake ready when the time comes. Knowledge, knowing, prep to start today. Tomorrow is too late. So, in regard to the tomorrow is too late, it was too late tomorrow to realize that he pretty much helped him network, build the platform, and then he took it from me. So even though I think my video stopped for a moment, I'll just keep going. What I wanted to actually get into is for the programmers that build Excel. I want to see that Excel is kind of improved. So on the new and upcoming Excel, I thought it would be cool if you were to do a improved pie chart. You do a stretchable pie chart, so you're able to stretch it out, pause it, and a free screen, and you have your start, which is your start of your pie chart. You have your pie chart here, and then you have your goal. So you can span it out, and you can actually have the words spreadsheet in between, where you can see your stats, see your removable Excel tab. If you do a click and a fold, so it's stretchable, like a box within a box within a box, and you can do it 3-dimensional, so it goes back into the computer itself, where you see each point by point, and then you can click on it and stretch those out. So it's a tumble and climb. So you can tumble and climb through each of the windows, have it photo colored, photo screen, photo emphasis, so that you can have it where each point can do a turn or twist. Rotational pie chart. So you have a pie chart that has a diving board coming off it and a tab. So you can do a photo on each of the diving boards. So you can mark where the points are, and you can have a title on the top. And then when you click on it, you can drop into either a spreadsheet or Excel, or it's an Excel within Excel. And then the rotational pie chart actually has everything margined out, and it's clickable as to, break time, lunch time, anything division. You spin around and you can drop one of these landing boards or diving boards on there, and then coming off it. So like issues, so like you gather and collect each of the rotation diving boards from the other supervisors, so they can put together off their spreadsheet everything they want to do. So it's a 3-dimensional pie chart. You drag and drop this off and make it where it's a clippable artwork. So you pull this apart, and it has title, work days, etc. That would just make it so that the Excel loops back in, and then it folds up, folds down, so it can build into the pie chart. So it's like a key fob or something like that, where it's a Bitcoin where it's flopped in, and you can have these all platforms, so they're color coded. So that as we go into two-dimensional, three-dimensional, virtual reality. You have where your pie charts are all rotational and dimensionally sound. You have a shrink and dink or a pull apart and a stream forward flow. So it's like a box within a box. It's kind of like a picture within a picture where you pan out, you scroll in, and it comes out and it shows exactly what you're doing on your spreadsheet. And then it goes back down and you scroll in, pan out, scroll in, pan out, scroll in, pan out. The picture within a picture is into a three-dimensional box within a box for a title. The title comes up and you have a title on the top. That could also be picture coded, or it could just be a label or a big letter. So you could have each thing color coded, almost like Jurassic Park, where you kind of pan over and you can have it color coded and you click on it. It's like a filing cabinet. Each file has a label or a number, so you have it coded down so that the spreadsheet comes up on the front and there's a three-dimensional aspect to it. If you want to do a two-dimensional, the exact same thing. You can have it where it folds down, where it stacks and colors and tumbles and rolls, where it's a spinnable pie chart, so that as it spins, you can actually make it so that the spinning of the pie chart can stack, and there can be certain parts of it that are incorporated so that it can stand out in particular one from the other, so that it can be a movable pie chart, stack and color, tumble and roll, so you can put one on top of the other. Click and zoom, so it's anywhere from a two-dimensional, three-dimensional, to a five-dimensional. So that's a clickable pie chart that you can piece in together or apart. So each box, if you go three-dimensionally, has 6 points to it, six-sided to each box. Make it so that you can take apart each 6 sides of the box to put it into one collective pie chart. And then if you have a corporation or business, you have all the names and labels of each individual person working on these pie charts. You just color code them and you number them, you label them, and then when you click in, you can piece apart all their work. So that each chart, each graph, each box is all peaceably separated and then conjointly combined, so you form a two-dimensional box that says, well, number 1 is Amy. Have it all alphabetized, and Amy A to Z, and then you just click on it and say, well, Amy's working on A, B, C, or D, or C, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and then you can collectively click back to what Amy was doing when she was doing it, and have it all date, time, and marginalized, so you can go back to the secretarial, back to the goal, back to the conference, so that as you learn the pie chart, as you monitor from the two-dimensional to the three-dimensional to the five-dimensional to this, you have the circle at the top, which is the goal, the pyramid, which goes back into another conceptual diagram that relates back to the click and the fold, and then it goes back into the timeline and the presentation. So you have it where it's anywhere from a two-dimensional to a three-dimensional to a four-dimensional or a five-dimensional. So everything overlays into the Excel, into the spreadsheet. So as it grows, as it increases, you have it where, going back to this, it's a clickable diving board. It's something that where it's combined, you make it so that it can be accessibly two-dimensionally, where it's a photo spreadsheet, or it's collectively conjoined to a three-dimensional aspect, where it's a ratio of like a CD, where it's constantly spinning or it's pointing, and movable but unmovable, where you could take and piece one part apart and one piece apart, and then you can take that piece and tear apart that piece to a 6-dimensional realm, or to a 12-dimensional realm, or 36-dimensional realm, where everything is collectively conjoined, where you're just taking pieces and parts of Excel and you're freezing them, and you freeze frame them. When you freeze frame them, you Bitcoin them. You take them and you collectively join them, you add join them, and then you fill in the bubbles in between, so that it joins with circulation of each one back into a constructed design that is incorporated back into an overall loop to something that is amassing, that seems simplistic, but it's a design that is constructively used to pretty much incorporate everything. What it is it's a square. You cut it down off one corner, it's a circle, and then it's a triangle, which is a pyramid, and then it's a square, triangle to a circle. Square, triangle, circle. The circle is on any adjacent lane corner, and that's the dimensionality that holds the rest of the square together. So it's pretty much like a hinge. Each hinge goes into the overall combination of the other hinge. So if you have a two-dimensional piece or three-dimensional piece, and you do that same symbol on a piece of paper, where it's a circle, a triangle, and then a square, and you think about it in 3 dimensions, you start to flip that, you start to see how it hinges back into each individual dimensionality of another hinge. So if you're able to do that within Excel, or they're progressively able to make an Excel to that point where it can hinge back together, one to another, and overlap, And then you start to get into three-dimensionality or virtual reality, where you can stick and pull and wear gloves or a mask or something to that effect, Google glasses, where you can pull a hinge out, and it's almost like a centrifuge of a nuclear reactor, where you're pulling out a hinge and it's coming up, and there's other dimensions holding out to the base. You start to think like Empire State Building, where as it goes up, it narrows and there's a flagpole, where you're pulling out each of these pieces, and then it has a cabinet that has a pyramid, and each as they go up in the pillar, you're getting deeper down into the individual cortex or the subprime of whatever you're networking or gridding within. And then you can grid within that grid. And then when you drop it, it just goes back and it flattens out and it's your city. So it's a two-dimensional city, and it has an overlay where you can go in and you can individually piece and de-piece or depart or dethrone or de-compass each individual tower, house, or whatever you want to do off the simplicity of a design that's just a square. You chop off the upper left-hand corner, you put a circle, you put a pyramid in the middle, which is a triangle, and then you can chop down the bottom right-hand corner, and that's a square. And that's where you can just grab and go, piece and take, and everything like that. So maybe the next time I'm at a job and I'm doing spreadsheets and I'm doing Excel, and I start to see this stuff incorporated, where it's a freeze and frame, where it's touch and go, where it's a turn and grab, and I start thinking back to what I made for that guy, or with that company, and he made millions of dollars off it, and I made nothing, where we were able to custom and systematically design so the call center flow was more on a universal or uniformly conjoined platform to network on multiple lateral terms and teams with between anywhere from 500 to 5,000 people. It was three sites, 3 different call centers, and we had to ensure that everybody was on call, off call, and all site supervisors, shift foremen, team leads were all on the same page, networking and gridding together. What we did was we incorporated, so it was color coded, so it was spliced, sliced, and individualized to each individual person, so we could custom design and correlate to what they were doing on call, off call, and then network so that we could platform off them and give them a Q&A as to what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong, and how they had a systematical trackable chart of improvement. So we had to let them go. We had grounds and reasonable terms to not only release them from that job, but also terms as to why the supervisor or somebody higher up said, hey, you're letting too many people go, we need to have a term as to follow as to why you're letting them go. It kept everybody safe and secure on all sides, and it gave us a platform as to what we were training to, how we were training, what we were training to. The reason I incorporated everything else is because I think it could greatly improve the training platforms as a whole. If you can make where there's a insert within an insert, and a new client or a new customer or a new representative or a new hire can come in, and they say, well, within this platform, I need to improve better on this aspect or this avenue or this ratio or this revenue, then you can actually decode it, separate it, and incorporate something within to make it so it's a broader design. If you make it where it's a piece by piece, where you can freeze frame, and then you can systematically put in their opinion, their view, and you can have it where it's a cortex that overlays and underlays, and makes it so that they feel more an individual part of the company. It makes it so that as a broader whole, they're conjoined within the project and the match. Even if they don't really contribute that much, you want to have it feel like it's more of a home or central part or central piece of each individual business, transaction, partner, or partnership within each individual company that you're doing. So that's my Excel number 9 as a whole. Color coding is extremely key to it. Making it pretty much basic, simplistic, even more extreme. They always say that the stupid isn't at the bottom, the stupid's at the top, because if you can't make it so simplistic that even a second or third grader can read it, and you're sending that to the top, then your job's probably in jeopardy, because the top, they want a simplistic, stupid, and dumbed down. The people in between, they want the complex, they want the extreme, they want all the hardships. If you send really complex things to the very top, usually you don't get the greatest feedback. But if you keep it really dumbed down, almost as if they're new representatives for your company, then it flows a lot better. Anyway, my name is Drew Bailey. If you like this, if you have any opinion or you want to see or say or you want to work on some kind of Excel project, I worked with Excel pretty extensively. 2003 primarily, 2011 most recently, but 2003 I had to get into nitty-gritty of the coding. There's even an undertone gridding code to it that you can make video games out of it. That's not too much known. And I'm still a little bit agitated that my supervisor sold the Excel prototype to other call centers or to Capital One Ford millions of thousands of dollars, and I put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and I got, I think, $13.50 or $15.50 an hour or $20 an hour, and he made out like a bandit. So anyway, hope all is well. I'm sure he's living up to his name, Fox, and I'm sure he's living large. So look forward to talking to you. My email is Drew, DREWBAILEY 9996 @gmail.com. My Facebook is DREWBAILEY. I'm going to incorporate that sign, that symbol, the circle, the triangle to the square on my Facebook page, so it's going to be easily trackable. Good talking to you. Hope you're trudging along at the call centers, at all the boxes within a box, and I hope you appreciate your boxes. You get out of your box, go to another box, and get into another box, and go from one box to another box, because we're all trapped in the box. It's just the reality of the world. You can even travel foreign and you'll still be in another box. But hey, we all have a box to box, so keep boxing. Take it easy. Look forward to hearing. Thank you. Bye.